What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Full Court Talk podcast. And today is just me and Miles. CJ had a situation at work, so he had to stay, but we're going to get this to you guys. So we have a lot to talk about. So your Lakers bouncing the first round to the Suns.
Ay, ay, ay.
How you feeling, man?
Honestly, I'm at peace with it. Just because one, the Suns are damn good.
Yeah.
They are a legit finals contender. I'm happy for Chris Paul. I'm happy for Devin Booker, even DeAndre Ayton. I used to like Jay Crowder, not so much anymore, but it comes with the game.
Yeah.
Also happy for Monty Williams. So
Oh, yeah.
I wanna first give them credit before I say what I'm about to say. If we're healthy, we win. Um, I know people say like, "Oh, injuries are a part of it, no excuses," and I agree. Like, it's a part of it, and I don't consider it an excuse. It's more so part of the story. And then I told CJ this too, that I kind of see it as a tax from winning last year, just because the quick turnaround. They were hurt on and off all year. I mean, LeBron's was just because Solomon Hill is stupid and clumsy. Um, but overall, hats off to the Suns. Rob Pelinka has a lot of work to do. The Lakers only have 6 guys under contract, with Trez having a player option. So we got to see what he's gonna do with the roster.
Yeah. And that'll take us to our first topic about what's next for the Lakers. And I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that. And then we're talking about something that kind of brought up by Max Kellerman about how the NBA's big market teams are almost all out, and he said that the NBA be happy about this. We'll talk about that. And third topic, Damian Lillard posted a cryptic Instagram post about, from what it sounded like wanting to leave or being done with the organization. So what that means. Another player on the fringe of leaving, Bradley Beal, another guy bounced in the first round. Uh, and an interesting topic is Jason Kidd so sought after as a coach. So we'll do that as well. But I'm gonna let you go first because I know the Lakers are your team. So what do you think is next for them?
A good look in the mirror. I think this is a learning experience because I feel like there was some politics in play too. Obviously, Drummond played all those minutes when he clearly did not belong out there. Um, just navigating between how the Lakers can operate with clutch. Um, I feel like that had a big role in signing Montrezl Harrell. And yeah, it's just I said this to CJ also. At what point do you change things up or not fix it if it's not broken? Like, you had a championship core who had all the chemistry in the world, and you broke that up for more talent paper wise, which I respected at the time. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. So I think going forward, they need some actual real shooters. Kuzma is garbage. I
In the
finally
light.
come to that side. Kuzma is actual garbage. It's rough. KCP is streaky. That's about it for the dudes we have under contract. We have Alfonso McKinney, but he's not going to see time. I hate to be like the pipe dreamer fan, like, oh, I want this dude, but I mean, not to go into too much for our next topic. If Dame wants out, uh, who knows? I know other teams can heavily outbid for him. I'm looking at the Knicks too. That's a good situation for him. But if we can get Dame or some other disgruntled star, why not?
Yeah, and to go off of what you said about she I think their big mistake turned out to be the signing of Microsoft and Trez Harrell. Getting up on Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee was tough. JaVale I get a little more because he was on a track for not a nice payday, but a pay grade at least. Dwight Howard was still for the minimum. He's had a great season for free. That was definitely tough for the Lakers to kind of get rid of. And then with Drummond, like, even worth giving up a part of your core when you can get a guy like Dwight Howard for the minimum. You know, it's going to be tough. Like you said, getting shooters is going to be super important because you need to surround LeBron with a lot of shooters, especially Anthony Davis as well. But you definitely need to resign Caruso. Caruso is so important for what you guys do. And if it costs around 5 to 10, you need to resign because he's such a backup who can close games and just help overall. He's desperately needed for you guys. And then signing a starting point guard. Dennis Schroeder is not worth it. And it sounds like he's going to be really expensive here this offseason. But look at veterans like Derrick Rose, who could be swayed to win a championship in LA. Or maybe a surprise one, Kyle Lowry, who had a tough season in Toronto. Could you get him minimum if he wants to win now? Does he go back to Philly? But there is a lot to get to for the Lakers, and I think there's a lot to address. But Rob Pelinka is a fantastic GM, and even though he chose talent over chemistry, I think he can learn season and go over here. But obviously, getting these is so important for the Lakers. They have been beat up this past season. So that's gonna be super important. I think taking this offseason and extended offseason with the Lakers getting out early is going to be super important for next year.
Yeah, and like all the talk about AD maybe connecting with LeBron's trainer or any other trainer, like just figuring that part of it out. It is kind of weird because he's not the skinniest dude or he's not the biggest dude. He's like a good medium. So it's just like these little tic tac injuries here. It's confusing. I appreciate you bringing up Caruso. I'm 1000% on board. Just seeing him grow from a G League guy to a two-way guy. He earned his full contract, and hopefully, if he's worth, I mean, if he's eligible for like a full mid-level exception, give him the whole thing. Because, like, you see his impact on the court. He makes all the smart plays, takes a foul on a fast break, hustles back on defense, all that good stuff. And yeah, with Schroeder, it's tough too. Did you see the stuff about his Instagram?
Soon, I think it was like and I don't even know if it was an hour after, but he took the purple and yellow out of Instagram, right?
Yeah. So yeah, he had in his bio like Lakers point guard. He took it out like the night before or the morning of Game 6, and he put it back like 2 hours before tip off, and then like literally probably an hour after the game ended, he took it back out. I will say this: it's still kind of important to not burn that bridge yet, because if we can re-sign him and trade him, we can get more value just because all of that re-signing money won't eat into the cap. So if we just sign someone else, we can't spend as much on them as we can on him. But the tough part is just finding a sucker of a team to trade for that. Maybe the Knicks. They need a point guard too.
Well, you could trade for, I don't know if you guys will want, but Goran Dragic. I know that they're tied to the Heat, or Dennis is. Goran Dragic is a really good point guard. Does a lot of in a short amount of time, but he also always had some trouble staying healthy. So is that worth it for the Lakers? Probably not. But you want a team will probably deal. It's probably the Heat. Maybe you can get some more out of it. Maybe Duncan Robinson, who seems to want out, who would fit perfectly alongside LeBron. Could get something like that, but I'm not sure if Dennis is worth much, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
But what about Andre Drummond? Do you want him back, or after the coach's decision be Do you think they should just let him walk?
Depends on the price. He's still young. I think he's like 28.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be mad at all if he's trying to get the most he can earn. I attribute some of his struggles to just he joined the team late. It was in March. He joined the team with no LeBron and AD. They didn't have that time to gel. He didn't have time to learn the system. But even so, like his like the ways he doesn't fit in, they were really glaring. They were really obvious. He's not a rim protector, even though he's big. Um, yeah. If it's like I don't even know if I'd give him the mid level.
I think he's a bit main kind of now.
Yeah, just tough for him. We'll see. This is why I don't have Rob's job. Thank God.
He has an extremely tough job this season, this off season, just because there's so much to take in, and just go out there and get the best. To have to find guys that just fit in, and like we've heard before, LeBron can be tough to work with at times. So I think finding guys that are willing to kind of bend his way are what you need, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
But going on to the next topic, should the NBA be worried with some of the big market teams out early? Max Kellerman brought this up about having Lakers out and this out in the first round. Think this is a bad thing. As a basketball fan, I think it's cool because the smaller teams get a lot more exposure. The Utah Jazz have been the best teams in the NBA this season. They really haven't gotten the exposure that I think needed. Donovan Mitchell is one of the most exciting players in recent memory, giving us flashbacks of Dwayne Wade's. It's cool that he's getting that platform and kind of being the headline for the playoffs now. And I think the media is complaining this because they have to do more research on on teams, because I think you see a lot of media members don't certain players. Look at Charles Barkley. They do a whole show about who he plays for, and he knows none of them, which is pretty embarrassing for a guy like that. But at the end of the day, it's tough for them because they have to do a lot of research on a lot of teams. But that's your job. You literally just research guys, No.
Yep.
And with there's still big market teams. Phoenix is not a small market team. Aren't a small market team. You have those big market teams, and if it's a Suns net finals, that's a hell of a series. Even it's I don't think the Bucks are gonna make it, but if it's a Jazz Bucks, it's a hell of a series too. So I'm not too sure why the NBA continues to be frustrated with smaller markets, because you look at the NL and how they bring up some market teams like Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Like, these are tiny markets, but they get built up because they're star players, and they stay because they get treated like stars in small markets. So it's not a good look for NBA and the media. But what do you think?
Yeah, I love your reference of the NFL because I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, doesn't matter the market. If a star's a star, that's what matters. And I hope the NBA takes advantage of this window, because we've all heard the stat of no LeBron and Steph for what, 10 plus years since 2010. You have like great young stars on almost every team. Like you said, Donovan Mitchell, you have Devin Booker. Yeah, you have the Nets super team, sure. But at some point, like even like Trae Young is showing out in Atlanta when no one really expected him to.
Yeah.
Like you said, for us, like basketball purists, it's entertaining. And the fact that both of our teams are out of it now, I feel like we can enjoy it a little more.
Yeah. There's no stress.
Yeah. It's nice, honestly. It is.
Yeah.
But in terms of like it makes me think of Tim Duncan. Like Tim Duncan he's the best power forward ever. But he was in San Antonio. I wouldn't say like a small market. Like I consider all of Texas as a as one market.
Yeah.
And he was just under the radar the whole time. And yeah, I think idea for things that don't matter,
Yeah.
and that's been a problem. The players have expressed a lot of frustration with that. But yeah, like all I care about is that we get good basketball, as much health as possible, because that's the most entertaining when you have these complete teams playing good games, playing the right way. I think that's what matters. So I think you can't go wrong if you're the NBA if you prioritize the product and the quality of basketball over anything else.
Yeah, and I think like that's the big thing is like maybe some of these media members aren't really basketball fans. They're big market basketball fans, and I think that's tough because they're missing on. Uh, like we said, Young and phenomenal in the playoffs. He's kind of bloomed into the star that we always thought he was. Um, and like you said about Duncan, like there's a lot of people that truly don't believe that Tim Duncan is the best power forwards of all time, but really watched him. That dude was a purist. They call him the big fundamental for a reason, man. He was just so good at almost everything. And it sucks that a lot of people don't recognize all the accolades that he had. Because when you really look at it, he had more accolades than Kobe, which is a tough thing to say because Kobe had so many accolades. And that's what sucks about playing in a smaller market is that you don't get recognized by at least the public. You'll get a lot more, but and that's the thing that sucks. But at the end, this is really good for the A. I think in the long run, maybe not for the media, but it's good for them to build the smaller market teams and hopefully have the young stars stay where they are right now instead of leaving like KD to go from a market like OKC to the Warriors and to the Nets. Especially Cleveland. Cleveland's had it tough.
Oh yeah,
King linked Leafs, plus
yeah,
Kyrie disgruntled, and back to the bottom they go. It's tough.
yeah. And honestly, they have some young stars too,
They
Garland
do.
and Sexton.
Yeah.
But they're not marketed that way just because the NBA still is hanging on to the old names.
Yeah.
And at some point, like it's natural. It's life. Whether it's in work, it's in movies, shows. Like the next generation will. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when.
Yeah. And Darius is a hell of a player.
Yep.
He's going to be very special. And I'm not sure Colin Sexton's going to stay because I did see that Colin Sexton is in the trade market now because they don't want to pay him, which is just tough. But if you do build Darius Garland, I think that's a good idea. Darius Garland is he's dang it to me, man. He's so nice.
Yep.
But onto Damian Lillard, his cryptic Instagram post. I don't have the exact post, but I do know that it kind of hinted at him leaving. So you mentioned him earlier with going to the Lakers. I know I've seen Twitter. You are campaigning for the game to the Lakers.
Always.
What do you think this means for the Blazers? Do you think he leaves or do you think he stays?
If I had to bet my money, I'd say he stays just because he's been on the record so many times criticizing Durant and criticizing people who ring chase like that. But he's also never dropped 55 in a playoff loss either,
Yeah.
and broken the 3-point record in a playoff game. So I think that was really eye opening for him. I've been watching First Take a lot lately, and Stephen A. said that everyone in his circle has been telling him to leave, and has been telling him that. But he's built from that Oakland cloth where he's loyal. He wants to build it his way from the ground up. And that's tough because they don't really have the assets for that either. You're not gonna. I mean, maybe you could, if he's cool with someone, to convince them through free agency, but that comes with the inherent small market disadvantage. Regardless, they fired Terry Stotts. he asked for J Kidd and did not get him. I think Chauncey Billups will end up getting that job. And either I don't see CJ staying either way. Either he's
I think
gone
he's gone.
and yeah, 100%. Even Nurkic expressed like his frustrations of being there. It's really up to Dame. He can call his shot if he wants to. It's just a matter of, is he willing to take that hit to his image? Because you know damn well, if he forces his hand, players will be like, oh, well, how about this? You said this,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I had to bet money, I'd bet that he stays, but I'd gladly lose that money if he came to the Lakers.
I truly believe he's gonna. I don't like he's under contract to like 24.
Yeah.
So he signed an extension. I think he's pretty much staying there, unless something catastrophic happens within the organization where he wants out. I don't think I don't understand why he would say he wants Jason Kidd, at least publicly. So didn't it make much sense for Jason Kidd and like refute that almost immediately?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sketchy. But with the Blazers, it's tough. They really have been put in a tough position because they don't have any assets. CJ McCollum is really good, but he's not gonna be worth another star. And if you are getting a star return, it's not gonna be much better than CJ. Nurkic is a good center, but he's not a good center. He did a lot of good things, but not anything that he's gonna be great. He's also not gonna net you and great. They're in a position where they're in the middle of the pack. They're gonna get a lot of pick, and they're also gonna win any playoff series. We saw that with the past 2 seasons where they get bounced first round, and what makes it even worse is that even after such a great offseason where people were saying the Trailblazers had one of the best offseason seasons, rivaling Lakers, and they're still bouncing in the first round to a Nuggets team, Jamal Murray.
Yep.
So where do you go from here? I'm not sure. I think find him. Obviously, my image is super important, but I think at some point, if you want to win, you have to leave. If winning is what you're most like you prioritize, you have to get out. And looking at teams, I think as enticing as the Lakers are, the Lakers don't have much to give up. I think if the Lakers are able to EJ, that'd be nice. Get a nice 2 that can play. But unfortunately, I don't think Kuzma and whoever else you put together isn't gonna get a Damian Lillard, unless you do a team trade. That's still gonna be tough. So that's where Warriors come in. The Warriors have a ton of assets with the potentially 2 lotto picks. And more picks after that. Plus, you can get Wins and Wiseman, maybe a Pascal. Dame could be a guy that they go for. Will they want to experiment with 2 guards? Probably not. Is Dame gonna come back today? I think he said that he wouldn't because of Steph.
Yep.
But hey, the 1 fit the 2. I'm for it. But it's a if Dame wants at this point. Players have a ton of power. But like the Knicks also have a lot to give up. Kevin Knox is really good. Maybe they'll go for him. But I think at the Blazers just need to reset things and just go through the draft least. That's your bet for them.
Since you brought it up, I've been curious because I've gotten a lot of mixed answers on this. What do you want the Warriors to do? Like, because like you said, not only do you have assets, you have the money. Like you could sign a big free agent outright and make another big trade. So like who's the top of your list if you would want to make a trade?
Obviously, Kawhi. I would fit perfect with the Warriors. Would he come Warriors? Probably not. But we have enough to trade for him with Wiggins and Wiggins. I want to give a Wiseman because seeing what DeAndre Ayton has done, and I think he's done phenomenal. But if it means getting another superstar to prolong Steph's window, you're going all in, especially picks. I'm not using any lotto this season, at least unless you're able to get a Jalen kind of guy, or for some reason Cade Cunningham. Outside that like those aren't gonna help this season as much as they could net with trade. And honestly, I don't know. I don't think the Warriors even know what they want to do. But I think big trade and big thing is important. Or trading Kelly Ray. I'm all for that.
Yeah, gonna be a lot of off-season movement for sure.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be one of the interesting off seasons because there are a lot of not bottom feeders, but the Lakers and the Warriors are gonna be very active this off season.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, but moving on to another guy that the Warriors could get, Bradley Beal. The Wizards called all the way from like the bottom of the Eastern Conference to become the 8. They fought all there just to have a gentleman's. They lost to the Sixers and mainly because Joel Embiid went down with a small meniscus tear, and the Wizards took advantage of that. But much like Damian Lillard and the Blazers, Bradley Beal is kind of in that position where does he want to leave and potentially get onto a team, or does he want to stay with the Wizards? They've been competitive since John Wall went down with his Achilles injury. And even though Bradley Beal has been playing phenomenal, does he stay on a below average team to just put up 35 points against a game every night? I'm not sure. But they're another team that the Warriors could potentially do it to get Bradley Beal, to get him to the Bay. Would he fit? I'm not sure anymore. I honestly don't know. He's a scorer that we definitely need. But would he fit alongside a Thompson? If healthy, I just don't know. But there are a ton of teams that would Bradley Beal. Anyone like that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I just looked it up right now. They don't have a lot of cap space because of Russ. And I love Russ as a person, but him making 44 million next year, you're not going to win a championship. I don't even know if at this point he is like a number 2 guy on a championship team. So it also, it depends on Bradley Beal if he's willing to take that hit to his image if he asks out. I mean, that's kind of the tax that players have to pay if they want to get out of their situation. I think he'd fit good on the Warriors. Just put him at the 2, slide Clay to the 3. I feel like you can never have enough shooting and playmaking and just shot creating.
Yeah.
I know he's not the best defender, but I mean, you have Draymond as an anchor. Maybe you grab another big man. So if I had to bet my money, I would say he moves just because they have a bunch of dudes under contract. They have Bertans, Thomas Bryant, Rui Hachimura, Denny Avdiha. I don't know how to say his name. But yeah, they have a bunch of dudes under contract still. They already had a big trade last year when they traded John Wall. So yeah, it's really up to Brad also if he wants to call his shot. Where I would really like to see him, that's interesting. Maybe depending on how Utah does this series. I feel like just pairing it. Maybe even Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, any team with a young star who needs more help.
Yeah,
that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think especially with Dallas after getting bound first round, with Luka kind of playing his ass off, but also kind of hindering them at times with just staying at court and floating around. Another guy that can go and get his own would be perfect on like that. And if it means getting rid of Porzingis in the time being, do it. Porzingis had a very tough postseason and season. And maybe the Wizards become place where you just send all your cap space the time being, and then as soon as they get off the books, they sign more players and just try and rebuild. I think the Wizards have been the most stubborn team. They refuse to rebuild, even though they're all signs point to that they should. It's time. Bradley Beal needs a new home. You can get a lot of good things for him, a lot of assets in the form of picks. It's time to get him. Maybe even the Thunder make a move. But Bradley Beal, Shai Gilgeous, and Lubert, that's a lot of buckets, and I think that could fit as well. But
Yeah, even if they if Dallas is able to deal Porzingis for any value, honestly, he's been terrible.
yeah.
I saw a tweet where someone called him a 7'3" Kyle Kuzma. You see that?
It's the new pandemic though.
Oh yeah, that one too. Oh god.
I don't understand what happened. He was so good in New York. Like he was able to post up. He was able to take threes. He was able to drive. I get the like why he's not driving. Being a big man on knees is tough. But why not go to the post? You're 7'3". You're huge. You should not be half court threes.
Yeah, it's tough because watching that series, I mean, there were times where he tried to post up, but there's dudes who are heavier than him, or maybe not heavier, but I mean, they're just like stronger and have a better base. Like I saw PG push him out of the post, Marcus Morris, guys like that. So like I feel like that like discouraged him from posting up. But even so, you're right. Like he shot way too many jumpers. There was one fast break. I don't remember if it was game 6 or 7. It was a 2-on-1, and he pulled up from 3. It was horrible. Yeah, like if you're 7'3", you have to take advantage of the height.
Yeah. And even if you want to go to the mid post in some like mid range post game, like you're tall enough to just show over anyone you want. You could be like a scary version of KD, be lobbying KD if you want. And he chooses not to. He chooses just come around the 3.
Yeah.
And he's not a good shooter. That's the thing, He's never that good of a shooter, but he looks and I'm just not sure who would take a guy like that, but maybe New York will take him back.
That'd be hilarious.
But Jace Kidd, before we get into this one, I want to read off what he's done, because he actually has a lot of issues, and let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
This is all before 2014, so it's not even the full list past that, because I know he has a couple DUIs, and he had a lot of incidents. Like when he was at Cal, he instigated a mutiny against his own coach, got him fired. He feuded with a Dallas teammate, and easily led to a trade where Jason Kidd ended up in Phoenix. That was with Jim Jack. And Jason Kidd was arrested for hitting his ex-wife and pleaded guilty to spousal abuse. Eventually chased to the Nets. And then he also helped run New Jersey coach Byron Scott out of town. And that's at least the second he's gotten fired. And then he also went on strike complaining about a migraine and missing a game against the Knicks. He was then traded again for the 4th time. And then against the Hornets, Jason Kidd flopped for a flagrant foul and was not suspended. He then ran into Michael Woodson, a game, drew a technical foul against Michael Woodson, and the Mavericks won. Impressive. But then Kidd gave a verbal commitment to resign with Dallas. Then said no. After that, went to the Knicks, and he retired after 1 year. The Knicks. And then he was charged with a DUI, crashing his SUV into a utility pole in Long Island. Interesting. And then I'm sure this where he bumps into Tyshawn Taylor, called over the gate, where he's hit him with the camera looking right at him, and this was another timeout, and he was fined $50 for this. And after being hired as coach, he was then traded as a coach. So I rarely see that he was traded to this. And I think the thing is like Jason was a great player. I don't think if social media was around the time when Jason Kidd was playing, it would be tough for him to find another job because of how much he did. And this is only 2014, so there has been more after the well. His record as a head coach is 183, 190, so he has under 500 record, and actually had a lot of good teams that he coached. He coached young Giannis. He coached Chris Middleton. He also coached infamous Nets team that was supposed to be better than the big. I believe he coached the Paul Pierce, KG, and Darren Williams. All of them.
Yep.
I don't think they made it past the second round. They were a failure team. And with all that being, he is still one of the most sought after coach. I'm not exactly sure why. But there's also coaches that have had less on the resume in terms of incidents. Mark Jackson, Kenny Atkinson, Juwan Howard, to name a few, who are all very good coaches, but are having trouble finding a job. Jason Kidd had a lot of issues in the past. Can find a job easily. So what do you think about Jason Kidd and this whole situation?
It's honestly surprising how his past hasn't really caught up with him.
Yeah.
I do remember a bunch of that stuff you read off, but just hearing it again and seeing where we are now as a society, it's like players don't care. I mean, I don't want to say they don't care enough, but I guess since he pled guilty and it's in the past or whatever, it's tough. But just in terms of being a coach, you're right. I don't understand the market for him either because he's under 500. The only good thing I feel like from his coaching tenures is that Giannis likes him.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think Giannis was very hurt when Jason Kidd was fired.
Yep.
So I think he's a player coach for sure.
Oh yeah.
Players seem to love him, no
Mhm.
matter their loss. So it's very interesting to see that.
Yeah, which is why I think he's best suited as an assistant.
Yeah.
Because you do need guys like that who can speak to the players on a level like that. But at the end of the day, a head coach's job is to just do what's best for winning, almost at the cost of those relationships with players. I mean, selfishly, I hope he stays with the Lakers, but I know he's gonna take whatever head coaching job is desirable for him. I mean, if anything, I would want him to go on a team with a young star too. But when I think about it, Trae Young has Nate McMillan, who I hope gets re-signed because he's a damn good coach.
Yeah.
Devin Booker has Monty Williams, maybe Rick Carlisle and Dallas, but I mean, they have a really good thing together going. I don't know. Like you said it, I don't see him as like a Steve Kerr type where he's a championship coach like that, but as an assistant, of course.
Yeah, and I think I've seen it's pretty much like set down that he's going to Boston. After that entire situation with Danny Ainge stepping down and Brad Stevens kind of going. Not exactly sure what to make of that, because I think that's a whole different situation that is just very, very, very sus. There's something going on behind the scene there that not many people will have heard about yet. I think we'll find out in the coming weeks. But Brad Stevens stepping down suddenly and as one of the most offensively gifted coaches is kind of weird. and Danny Ainge having a pretty good track record as president, stepping down so suddenly, also weird. So Jason Kidd go there is kind of weird, but you know, a lot of players like him. We've seen Damian say that he wanted him, and obviously Jason turned it down. So I'm not sure what to make of this entire situation, but we're gonna see what happens. Maybe he's turned a new leaf. Maybe he's a person. Maybe he's not gonna have any more SU just any problems. But I'm just sure it's tough.
I actually don't hate him on the Celtics because Tatum's a young star. When all the stuff with Ainge and Stevens happened, I looked up Tatum's contract, of course, just to, just to see the waters. And he hasn't even signed his rookie extension yet.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there for a while.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd would be good for building him up. Jaylen Brown. I mean, I'm also willing to give him a chance if he can get assistants who specialize in the X's and O's of it. I don't hate that, but it is a weird situation where Brad Stevens stepped down into a position that's higher up. It's still you're right. That doesn't sit well with me.
And then not quickly saying that he was like demoted or promoted, and saying like he stepped down for personal reasons, say that he's stressed with the position of coaching, and it's like, I think coaching's bad. I can't imagine being a president. Being a is not. It cannot be. It's a lot of maneuvering with the cap, with the chemistry. You have to deal with players saying that they don't be there anymore behind the scenes. I don't buy that at all. I think there's something that's going on.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah. But thank you for hopping on. Thank you for filling in. This was a lot of fun.
Always, man. Thanks for always having me. Love it.
And I'm glad you've seen the light with Kuzma. I'm sure CJ's gonna be really happy about that.
Oh God. Yeah. I'm not gonna fight that anymore. Yeah, it's not even worth my breath. Good Lord.
I understand. But go ahead and check out our link in the description. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna do it for us. So guys, in the next one. Peace.
See ya.